What do you think? Patrick, you're really into cars. The Volkswagen thing.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, don't call it Dieselgate because I'm just tired of everything being
I wouldn't
gate.
call it Dieselgate. How about Diesel Palooza?
Okay.
How about Diesel Ghazi?
Diesel Ghazi is good.
Diesel Ghazi.
Diesel Ghazi. Maybe we should name the episode too.
It's really messy. It's okay. So I own 2 diesel trucks. I think diesel is awesome. I love biodiesel. Volkswagen has just created more trouble for diesel manufacturers in the United States than anything has.
All we're trying to do is get you to buy some diesels.
Well, what's frustrating, right? Because it turns out
it's clean diesel.
Okay. So first of all, it looks like there are rumors that there are early thoughts that apparently BMW is doing the same thing.
You know what? Car makers have done this for years, haven't they? All of them.
It depends. So car makers have always gamed like the mile per gallon.
PC makers have done it. Remember, you're a benchmarker.
I was once offered $500,000 for a beta copy of the Ziff Davis benchmarks.
Because then they could build it into the BIOS. It would look and see, oh, we're running the benchmark.
Yeah. Or
overclock this sucker.
Even if they didn't tweak it at the BIOS level, they could still optimize the machine to maximize its performance on the benchmarks. You know, how much memory.
Companies have a long history of trying to cheat. But this is cheating regulators. This is putting 40 times more sulfur dioxide into the air than is legal.
There's a magazine I subscribe to that is for Cummins Diesel's owners, and one of the regular contributors of that magazine worked for the EPA in the 70s. And he has an interesting perspective. He said, look, our mission in the 70s was accomplished about a decade ago in terms of air cleanliness, in terms of reducing pollution, in terms of cleaning a lot of stuff up. Like, you know, a lot of people watching the show aren't old enough to have seen videos of the Kaihara River on fire. But, you know, when a river's on fire, you know things are not right? So, you know, or the guys, I got stuck down in Baja once with a bunch of guys that were really upset about the EPA and they should be able to roll coal and burn smoke and have whatever modifications they want to their vehicle. I'm like, dude, you grew up in LA. I've lived in parts of New Jersey where locals did not drink the water because of the paint plant and the benzene processing plant, right? But I never could see the air. And in LA, you can still see the air on the bad days. You know what I mean? That it's not nearly as bad as it was in the 70s.
Exactly. And you know why? Because of emissions rules.
You know, if you like the fact that you're getting like 300 horsepower out of a 2-liter engine, thank the EPA, because the EPA laws mandated a whole bunch of stuff that forced engine manufacturers or automotive manufacturers to get better at what they do. All of that aside, Volkswagen basically, they put in an algorithm that looked for a combination of settings that indicated the vehicle was being tested for smog, and then put on all of the smog correction. And this is very critical for Volkswagen because Volkswagen said they could meet smog emissions with their 2.0-liter engine with the TDI diesel.
A so-called clean diesel.
Yeah, without having additional. It's pretty freaking clean, even at 40 times the emissions. Yeah, I mean. Yeah,
it's better than your Cummins.
Yeah, but I also burn biodiesel in my Cummins, my Cummins, and my biodiesel is made.
You coming in your Cummins.
No, I don't. There's no smoke coming from my Cummins.
Really?
I find
it's not belching black smoke.
No, people who belch black smoke from their diesels are people who like to burn money. I am not a person that burns money. That is burning money and wasting power, and it may make you think your masculine organisms are larger and more functional.
So you can tune a diesel in some way so it doesn't puff smoke.
Yes, you just have to have enough oxygen coming into the engine to burn the amount of fuel you have. Like most of the stuff where people are rolling coal, it's for effect. You know.
Right.
But the thing with
so it's called rolling coal.
That's what people call it.
Are you from the South or something?
No,
he's from New Jersey. It's very similar.
It's the trucks, right? The trucks.
Yeah, with the bike. Yeah, that's called rolling coal because it looks like a big old. It looks like a steam train.
West Virginia coal mining. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, so. I'm amped up about this because what Volkswagen did is they just gave the EPA an excuse to be really, really, really aggro about emissions with all the manufacturers. The EPA has basically said they're going to start spot checking automobiles. So there are going to be federal examinations of automobiles around the United States. Is this going to be like they're going to pull me over and they're going to do exhaust tests on me? Or is this going to be like we are going to go to dealerships and randomly inspect untested autos? I do not need to be stopped by the EPA. Traffic is complicated enough in the Bay Area as it is. The BBA has a witch hunt, you know, and to a certain degree, the California Air Resource Board already has a witch hunt on diesel because they believe that the particulate matter from diesel offsets any of the other diesel benefits, and particulate matter can be tied to cancer, not unlike, you know, breathing in gasoline fumes and everything else. But so there's there's a lot of things stacked against diesel in the United States to begin with, and now Volkswagen has Volkswagen's also screwed itself because a vast number of people who bought TDI vehicles were like, I want something more exciting than a Prius. I want something that's more interesting. I want something that's more fun to drive.
Probably why they did this, right? To make it more responsive, better fuel mileage.
Yeah. So what it turns out is that Volkswagen was not meeting the emissions, or we don't know. Nobody's done any thorough testing on this, so we don't know.
Partly because of the DMCA preventing anybody from
and that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother.
That's like a 2-hour conversation.
Right. Yeah, that's the entire. That's like a 4-hour triangulation. But
for a year they denied they were doing anything. They finally said, yeah, we were doing it.
So what happens is, and the thing that also has me really pissed off is GM knowingly enacts, basically refuses to acknowledge a problem with the ignition switches. It's tied to the deaths of 120 people, writes a $900 million check, and walks on a year when they made like $3 billion. The upside, the high side of the potential fines based on the, what is it, like $34,000 per vehicle is $18 billion for Volkswagen. Whoa. Is Volkswagen going to pay $18 billion for, for 500,000 car violations? No. What's going to happen is they're either going to retrofit them, which if they're lucky they can do in software, which may not be possible, or they're going to have to do a urea system to
it's not just in the U.S. They've been doing it all over the world.
Right.
There are 11 million cars.
It's not.
The cost could be as much as $41 billion.
Yeah. But that's like
just to retrofit. I'm not talking a fine.
Well, and that's just it. We don't know what they can retrofit. They don't know what they can retrofit. Are they going to have to retrofit a urea system to make it compliant? Nobody knows, but it's a mess, and the EPA is going to be looking at a lot of stuff right now as a result of this.
It is a mess.
They had nearly 200 billion euros in revenue in 2013, and they sold about 10 million cars a year, according to this data. So, I mean, even if they got the full fine, it wouldn't kill them. But I mean, I can't imagine anyone writing a check at that scale.
It's already cost them their CEO, who
the CEO's out.
And quit.
The CEO has fallen on his sword. We don't know. They cannot sell diesel cars in the United States. They've stopped selling diesel cars in the United States until they have a fix for this.
And I have to imagine other diesel cars from other manufacturers are in trouble as well.
The problem is most of the other manufacturers were using Blue Tech or whatever urea-based technology There's lots of ways to eliminate the emissions that are the issue. Volkswagen said they were doing it without the addition of like a urea subsystem or something like that, or what I affectionately refer to as cat squeezings or cat piss.
So it wasn't a question of them turning off emissions and rolling coal. They didn't even have the capability to do a cleaner.
No, they basically they were. It turned everything on for emissions when it thought it was being smog tested, and if it wasn't being smog tested, it sort of
But they could have used a cleaner engine. They didn't.
Well, yeah, but they felt, they could have used it. And the other thing is what I don't know is why they did that. Do they gain 10% horsepower? Do they gain 5% horsepower? Or do they gain 30% horsepower? It's a really curious question.
What was the net gain for the damage they caused overall?
Well, they sold 11 million diesel cars that might not have sold at all because people have such a bad impression of diesel.
They would have sold. Well, the thing is,
trucks is one thing. You're going to sell diesel trucks.
Diesel. I mean, basically, Oldsmobile killed diesel in the U.S. I mean, diesel was much cheaper in Europe, and vastly cheaper compared to gasoline in Europe, and that's part of the reason why diesel is so popular in Europe. And then when the fuel crisis hit in the 70s, Oldsmobile retrofitted a bunch of basically what it amounted to they retrofitted a gasoline engine design to work as a diesel, and it was a horrible mess. It was a nightmare. And that single car did more damage to diesel automobiles than anything else in the United States. I don't know. Anyhow, I'm a gearhead. Sorry.
It doesn't show at all.
Well, what's the bottom line? Well, obviously, Volkswagen did wrong. It's going to hurt diesel as a.
There's a certain percentage of Volkswagen's customers will never come back. They will sell their cars at the first opportunity. They will never come back because their trust has been violated. I thought I had a green vehicle. I thought I was as cool as the guy with the Prius or the Tesla.
Nope.
And
they lied to me.
And they lied to me.
And
they're never going to get them back.
Yeah.
I have a Volkswagen. I drive.
But you don't have a diesel. I bet you have a gas.
No, I wanted one, but I couldn't find the one.
I drive an Audi, but it's a gas Audi. But I have to admit, I feel like maybe I'm not going to have an Audi next time.
Why?
I mean, it's going to hurt the brand. Yeah. Because I think it hurts the brand.
Yeah, I think it does.
You know what their slogan is? Truth in engineering.
Oops.
Maybe not.
Satire is dead.
Maybe not.